Carisbrook in Dunedin has long been an iconic rugby venue, but tonight, with the brand new indoor stadium only weeks away from opening, we can say for certain this will be the last test match played at this ground. It's also the start of an international rugby season in this country, which is the most anticipated in memory, and of course culminates in Rugby World Cup 2011. Tonight, the All Blacks against Fiji. It's only the 5th official test between these countries, the All Blacks winning the previous 4 by handsome margins. And a special welcome to our international audience, particularly those watching, of course, in Fiji. We can tell you, perfect night in Dunedin for the rugby. It's been fine and cool, not much wind though. Conditions might be a little bit dewy, but otherwise okay. And of course, this match, all proceeds go to the Christchurch earthquake appeal as Fiji come onto the field, onto Carisbrook.
And Fiji.
And if the Fijian forward pack is to be competitive tonight, it needs players like the man who led them out, Deacon Manu, to really stand up. Manu spent plenty of time in Waikato and Chiefs teams, so that experience will be an important commodity. The other familiar name in the pack is Wangana Barutu, who played for Waikato last season. Is quite outstanding with the ball in hand. And in the backs, Seremai Mbai is something of a veteran in the side. With Nicky Little injured, Mbai slots in at first 5 for his 30th test match. Played a couple of seasons for Southland in 2003-04 and is an important man in this unit. As always, plenty of pace in this back division. And the 7 men on the bench tonight for Fiji, who will be playing left to right in the first half. But Ian Smith sideline, and Smithy, really conditions couldn't be better.
No, they couldn't, Nisbo, for this time of the year. It is cool, and it won't please the Fijians greatly, but once they get into the action, they shouldn't notice that too much unless the guys out wide are a little starved to the action. But this is the team that we're focusing on now, the All Blacks. Look at Big Ali Williams there, number 5. How special for him, walking out after 2 years of injury. And this is where it begins, Nisbo. A long walk down the tunnel here at Carisbrook for the last time for the men in black.
Yes, indeed. First test of the season, always important, Grant Fox.
It is, and it's an unusual test in some ways because the All Blacks don't play Fiji officially very often. In fact, this is only the 5th time they've played an official test match. The first one was only back in 1987.
Okay,
going the reverse way too. Grant, the All Blacks have only toured Fiji once, and that was back in 1984.
That's right, exactly. Well, here's Richie McCaw, and a great hand too for the All Blacks. First test of a hugely important season, obviously. Well over 200 test caps in this All Black pack tonight, but it's a memorable evening for Jared Hoyata on debut. 27 years of age with plenty of first-class experience. Hoyata gets his chance on the back of an outstanding campaign with the Highlanders. Ali Williams completes a fairy tale comeback tonight, while Adam Thompson makes his first start in a test since 2009 to perform the first Haka of the season.
Just as an aside, in his boat, Lapi Mariner spends time in Las Vegas doing Barry White. So for part of the year, that's what he does.
Gee whiz, he sang that Fijian national anthem beautifully. So, the All Black Haka. And the Fijians will no doubt respond with a thembi.
Don't you love it when there's 2 challenges back at each other, back at you? Very good indeed. Well, Fiji won the toss and they've elected to kick off, so they're very keen to get stuck in and get field position right away.
Yes, the thembi. challenge from the Fijians has been laid down. The All Blacks with their traditional haka. There's Deacon Manu. Played so many games for Waikato and the Chiefs over the years. Nowadays plays his trade in Wales. And tonight's referee, Stu Dickinson from Australia. Steve Walsh and James Leckie are the assistant referees. George Ayub to make the calls if they need to be made from upstairs. And we're almost set to roll. Seremai Bai to make the kickoff. Adam Thompson back in the frame. And the international rugby season in New Zealand is underway. And the kickoff is made and claimed immediately by Adam Thompson for the All Blacks. And Jimmy Cowan is going to probe down the blind side and makes the kick, which doesn't go into touch. Now, the attitude of the Fijians will be interesting here as they try to run it out through fullback Kiri Soni. And he ran into a solid tackle led by Ma'anonu. Comes to Seri Levu. And Fiji take it in All Black territory, 5 metres. Seri Levu again. Nicely snapped up there by Nalanga. And an early penalty as it's not released.
Well, pretty solid start by the All Blacks. Just took the kick off, plugged the kick up the touch line, and then defended the return by Fiji pretty effectively.
Really big night for Colin Slade, who's just made that kick into touch.
So tactically, the All Blacks, we are going to see a different attack structure tonight, we're told, so we'll watch that with interest. But I also believe the All Blacks will play what I call hide the football. They won't want to give the Fijians targets where they can jolt the ball loose in tackles and play with loose ball. They'll want to keep it relatively tight, keep it nice and structured.
First line out throw then for Andrew Hoare. Joad Hariata brings it down. Off it goes to Thompson. Gets hammered, but does well to retain possession. Now here goes Cowan probing. And a good strong bust from Jimmy Cowan. He's 10 out from the 22. McCaw tried to get the pass away, and it's been locked forward. And pressure coming from the Fijians.
Well, you know, defensively, the Fijians are going to cover the ground quickly, and they hit pretty hard. Adam Thompson felt that right from the get-go. Oh, here we have the first scrum of the match. Oh, this is an area the All Blacks will certainly feel they can get some ascendancy.
Looks like Ma'anonu might have copped one early. Just a little bit of blood around. Yeah, look at that. You'd have to get that tidied up, one would imagine. In the meantime, Namaya Seri Levu to feed the scrum.
Pause. Engage.
And just folds a bit on the loose head side, but nevertheless Seri Levu gets his kick away. Muliaina in good position. Test match number 95 tonight for the veteran player as he brings it back towards the halfway line. Trying to reef it away from is Wangana Borutu, the man who played with him in the Waikato side last year. But they've got it to ground, 10-metre line in Fiji's territory. The little kick for Sivi Vatu to run onto, but it's been nicely anticipated by the right winger Nagusa. Dragged down though by Sivi Vatu, showing plenty of energy on the chase. And the All Blacks get the numbers there, and they get an early penalty. Now the attitude will be interesting here. Will they take the 3 points early, or will they kick it out and start from a line out? It's a test match after all.
It is a test match, and McCaw's not mucking around. Very quickly pointed at the goalpost, and important for Colin Slade too. It's a handy shot at goal. You know, it's his first run on start at this level of the game, and so he'll be keen to have a nice easy shot at goal, just settle the nerves a little bit.
Yep, exactly the right decision as far as Colin Slade is concerned. They could have maybe scored in the corner. He had a conversion from the corner. That might have been a bit harder. He wants to be 1 from 1. Work rate the key tonight too for Sivi Vatu. Very busy and very effective in that win by the All Blacks.
So here's Colin Slade. He hasn't scored any test points yet. When he was in Sydney, Piriwepu was doing the goal kicking, but he has now. He kicks the penalty goal, and the All Blacks have the early lead here at Carisbrook by 3-0.
I watched Colin Slade before the game warming up, and he's clearly done a lot of work, a lot of practice with his goal kicking, making sure he's getting that left shoulder forward and following through properly. Did it very nicely then.
Good crowd on the embankment Ali Williams awaiting the kickoff to be made by Mbai once more. Gets it up nice and high. Williams goes early, but he was pushed, quite clearly pushed. And the All Blacks have another penalty. So discipline at the moment, letting the Fijians down.
I was actually in Fiji, Nisbo, and went to Lautoka and saw Japan play Fiji, and discipline was a real problem for Fiji in that match.
Yes, they lost a few players, didn't they?
2 red, 3 yellow. They finished with 12 on the field.
Sam Damoni there with the beanie on. He is the coach of the side. Williams rises high. Cowan missed it the first time, gets it the second time. Slade gets nailed big time, but he got his pass away nicely. Now Jimmy Cowan rips it wide. It goes to Thompson. Sivivatu gets some good early chances, and he's chasing hard here too. Nagusa going back, and the ball is still loose. The All Blacks will be looking to keep it in the field of play. No, they can't do so, but there are plenty of black jerseys there, and Williams has thrown it quickly, and they're going to keep it going here. Muliaina just couldn't deliver the pass, and now it's with Slade just out from the 22-metre line, and Cowan will be looking for quick ball once more as he works it off this time to Smith. Here's Williams. He's knocked it on. Was just thinking ahead a little there, Ali Williams.
Interesting to watch that attack structure. Short line out, a bit untidy initially, but hit the midfield and went back wide, went back to the blind side very quickly with a wide pass from Cowan, and Thompson was at first receiver.
He certainly looks as though he means business tonight, Sivivatu. He's been disappointing, it's fair to say, in the 2011 season. Steve Hansen, Graham Henry and Wayne Smith.
Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage.
Or tight head. You don't see those very often. And in fact, another penalty. Not sure why he didn't play the advantage there, just let it go. But nevertheless, another penalty.
So what does McCaw do here?
That's what the penalty's for.
I think this time they may just knock it down the sideline. Another scrum.
With a conjecture, and I can tell you, I got right in front of me, I got Tony Woodcock and Mike Cron sitting together analysing things. Not of approval after that effort.
Fiji have conceded 4 penalties in the first 7 minutes of the game.
And Sam Damoni talked about that, didn't he, before the match? Area that they're working on. Well, they haven't got it right so far. So Sivivatu's tucked in on the inside shoulder of Colin Slade.
Pause. Engage.
Zach Guilford right out on this near touchline as the All Blacks carry on with it, but it spun around too far. Liam Messam was off.
It's gone round and up.
But they'll get another put in, so it's a messy start.
A fair bit of talk going on between Messam and Slade. So just getting the move called correctly. So perhaps an inside channel move here.
Touch. Pause. Engage.
Well, these scrums are not entirely straight, are they? There's a lot of pushing on angles going on.
There is, but the All Blacks are going forward at a rate of knots too, so it's actually causing some delivery problems. It's happening too quickly.
Come right up. I'll get him there. Yeah, right. Come up closer. Black. Thank you. Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage.
Jimmy Cowan not happy about his opposite number being breathing on over his shoulder. So Messam delivers the pass up to Cowan. Now it's with Nonu. Taken in a good tackle. Quickly recycled ball. Cowan goes again. Sniping around the edges. And Nonu tries to deliver the pass. Snapped up by McCaw. Nice pass. Thompson. Off it goes to White. Crockett. 5 metres out. And the All Blacks stay on this near side. Looking for quick ball to emerge here as Cowan reaches it. Off now to Franks. Ben Franks it is, of course. Crockett steps over the ball. Cowan once more. Now it's with Williams. Great attacking options here, left and right, as Cowan goes short to Thompson. patience being shown by the All Blacks. Now Cowan away for Hoare. Very quickly up on the hooker. Now Cowan looking to get it wide. Here they go wide. And across to Sivivatu. And the Fijian-born flyer scores the opening try of the season.
Well, there you saw just a little taste of what the All Black attack structure is. The forwards are working pretty close to the breakdown area. They're trying to gather the numbers and then just free the backs with a bit of width. Couple of wide passes, get it out to the guys with the fast feet. It's Richard Kahu was talking about before the game. So good try that to Sivivatu. You can see the work done here. Slade's calling for the ball straight away. He's seen the numbers. So just cut out pass here. The right option. So Sivivatu in for try number 28 for him.
Well, the Fijians actually had been quite effective around the fringes, so the All Blacks thought, to hell with that, let's commit some of those players from around the fringes with their big boys. They did it really effectively there, and that freed them up outside. Fiji's best chance was to cut it off at the source. They couldn't do it. Real pressure.
Tough kick here for Colin Slade, right from the sideline, and just pulled it away to the left. So it's an unconverted try scored by Sitiveni Sivivatu, who on debut against Fiji back in 2005 scored 4. So the All Black selectors happy with the opening try, 8-0 after 11 minutes. And by goes again. Again, Williams knocked out of the way, and the All Blacks finally bring it. No, they don't bring it under control. Snapped up by Nagusa. Opportunity to see the running game. I think the flag is up on the far side. Yeah.
Nagusa put his foot in touch, trying to free that in field. But pretty messy, that one, Grant Fox.
I'll tell you what, they're good kickoffs though by him. He's got nice height, good distance. His chasers have got a chance to compete. So not making it easy for the All Blacks. You can just see a little bit of rustiness in their game, can't you? Just a few skill execution errors.
McCaw right at the back. Hoyata goes very early, and it falls for Thompson, but it wasn't straight. It was a bit of a mess, really.
Yeah, just timing slightly astray there between Hoa and Hoyata.
He almost threw it around the back of the initial All Black jumper.
He was on his way down, wasn't he?
Head over here. You move, please. Come right up.
So what will Fiji do here? Their attitude, they're under pressure at scrum time. So firstly, they need to get it in quickly and get a clean hook. And then I would suggest their best option is to have a ping wide.
Touch.
Well,
Pause.
let's see if they can get a decent base here. Holding at the moment. But again, it's under a fair bit of pressure. Off it goes to Mbai. They're looking for Vuli to come back on the inside. Taken up. 10 out from the All Black 22. Mbai sends it back on the inside. Best period of attack so far for the Fijians. Now Fatiaki. And ranging wide is the big number 8. Matadigo. Well, making some progress here. Oh no, the ball's been lost and Williams has it. 10-metre line All Black territory. Picked up quickly by Hoare. On it goes to Thompson. On from Guildford to Smith. Nobody on the outside of Conrad Smith because the pass came from Zach Guildford, who cut back on the inside. Now it's with Cowan across from Slade to Williams. Cowan again. Slade dropped it onto the boot. Very late decision to do so, and it's fallen for Fatiaki, but it was lost forward by the Fijians, who were just as surprised, I think, as the All Blacks that the ball was kicked.
Yeah, it was a late decision. I think you got that call right, Grant, and I don't think that's the option the All Black coaching staff will be looking for from Colin Slade. Times like that, they'll be asking him just to take the ball on, take it to the line. If he doesn't breach and get his hands free, we'll at least secure the ball at the tackle, place it, present it for the forwards.
Notice Steve Hansen not making any notes because it wasn't a mistake made by a forward.
It's a competition in the coach's box, is it?
There's a lot of touches so far for Ali Williams having there with ball in hand, but the most impressive thing early from Jared Hawata was that big hit there on Siga. Saw him coming and then felt it, spilled it forward.
Stand up. You're in charge? Passed him once for head-to-head, no more. Fix it. Come right up. I will.
Plenty of talking going on there in the front row.
Yeah, one's accusing one of one thing, the other's going back. Can you make sure he does that too? Or so a bit of banter.
Stand up. Ask them not to move. Come onto the mark and stay there, okay? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's right. It is ridiculous.
Stay on the mark. You
It's
guys
ridiculous
are
that
creeping back.
time ticks on and nothing happens.
Yeah, it's a bugbear of yours, isn't it? As Bo, I know.
That's it. Stay there. Let him come up to you.
It is. I mean, we've spent a lot of time setting scrums tonight already. You've probably wasted a good couple of minutes in the match so far.
Stay there. Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage.
Okay, well, it's gone down. He's obliged to blow it up. So time ticks on. And it's just a simple midfield scrum.
They're fine. Just come out here. Just come across.
There's a lot of time spent setting
No,
it
that's
too.
fine. That was a good one. Sorry.
And that's, I don't know, mate. I know they do it for certain reasons, and there's been a lot of research done, but I don't remember going back a while when the front rows controlled it that there was as many collapsed scrums as we get nowadays.
Crouch.
And certainly they set it, they engaged it a lot quicker.
Pause. Engage.
Yeah, well, the loose head went down very quickly there. That was
You're on there.
Ma'afu.
There's no bind. You're just dropping straight out. He's got to have something to bind on.
And so Stu
Stay up.
Dickinson gives another penalty
Yeah,
to the All
absolutely.
Blacks. That's 5-zip. And Slade this time, just to take it down near the 22, but it's been really messy here.
He just slipped his bind, head went below his shoulders and down he went. So short line it again from the All Blacks. Just 4 men in.
So Thompson straight off the top. Cowan finally got the pass off. Sivi Vatu. He really has been looking for work in the first 16 minutes of the game as they work blindside again. Thompson's carried the ball a lot as he takes it up near the 22-metre line. Now Cowan gets it off to Howiata. Plenty of defence on that blindside from the Fijians, but Sivi Vatu bursts out of one tackle. Recycling quickly again for Cowan. Now it's with Slade. Cross to Nonu, and a little bit of space this time, Martin Nonu, but again a good tackle by the veteran Mbai. Cowan now for Smith. A little bit of hesitation from Conrad Smith. He felt the man coming on the inside but didn't deliver the pass. Slade once more finding Nonu. Again a little bit of space. Now it could open up here. McCaw got the pass but went to ground at the same time. Once more Sivi Vatu was in there. Howiata lobs it off to Slade, showing some patience. Now Guildford hit hard but not taken down by Fatiaki. As Cowan again, now Slade running onto it, pops the pass up. It's untidy. Smith. There's Cowan again. Slade back on the inside for Franks. Not really making a lot of ground here. They're backwards and forwards. Now Slade. Nonu through the pass. It was forward anyway, I suspect, even though Thompson couldn't hang on to it.
Well, it's good defence by Fiji. They're not committing many numbers to the breakdown. They're covering the width of the field well. They're covering, going forward well, closing time and space, and they're hitting hard. Thompson just got a little bit flat here. He needed to come from a little bit more depth and start wider from Nonu, just to give Nonu a little bit more space to step and get out and get on the outside shoulder of his defender where Thompson was hitting the hole.
Give him somewhere to go. Not on here. Get outside.
So time's rushed by. We're almost halfway through the first half. 8 points to 0.
Crouch. Touch.
When the All Blacks last played Fiji,
Pause. Engage.
and they won 91-0. They led by 50-0 at halftime.
It's gone down.
So here we go again.
Well, of course, there have been no law changes or anything until the World Cup is over, Foxy, but they need to have a serious look at the scrums, don't they, after the World Cup?
Yeah, well, there is a lot of time spent at this part of the game setting it. We lose a good number of minutes per match.
Pause, engage.
Quickly got in this time by Seri Levu. Oh dear, another one. 6 penalties to 0 now.
Shot at goal this time, I think.
Yeah, well, just take a look at this scrum go backwards. The Fijians almost held it for a second, and then the All Blacks put the heat on. I think one of the players on the near side over here actually lost his footing and feet went up in the air. It was pretty ugly, and Fiji under all sorts of pressure there, and Manu having a word to his lock behind him as if to say, well, where were you when the hit went on?
So Colin Slade looking to land his second penalty goal, and up and over it goes. So the All Blacks out to 11 points to 0 after 20 minutes in the first half here at Carisbrook.
So quarter of the game gone, Grant Fox, and Colin Slade has had plenty to do. He's been accurate enough with his kicking aspects of it. What about the rest of it?
Yeah, look, he's organising well, and that's the bit that I'm watching. Ian, he's spending a lot of time talking and pushing guys around the park, and that's an important part of the 5'8" skill set.
And by from halfway, man, hopelessly in front there. I think it was the winger, Nagusa. And it's worked on in the Fijians' favour, because I think Nagusa, who was a mile ahead at the kickoff, has somehow reclaimed the ball. Now, Seri Levu, as they bring it to this near side, and a good bust there from Vuli Vuli, who is a powerful man. They look pretty good with the ball in hand. They just haven't had many opportunities. As Seri Levu gets there again. Now Mbai works it across. Oh, bad skill. It was knocked down and lost by Kalu, the lock forward. The referee was playing advantage, and the All Blacks lost that advantage. So Fiji have it back on the 10-metre line in All Black territory, as Mbai works it across once more. Good charging run here by Wangana Barutu, who loves to carry the ball up. We saw that when he played with Waikato last season. Now he's gone back to play at halfback, and he sends the pass wide again for Mbai. Now Manu runs into both Thompson and Franks. All Blacks keen to get at it, but they can't. So Seri Levu again. This is the hooker, Koto, who plays in France like a lot of these Fijian players do. Now Fatiaki, the man with the headband on at second 5'8". Manu gets a pass which was bordering on forward, as they recycle and come again, the Fijians. Good period of play here. McCaw's gone in after this, and it's been turned over, and Franks was a bit unsure, and then Williams makes a fairly sort of a feeble pass. Muliaina, now it's with Guildford. Kick and chase. Getting back in defence is fullback Kerry Soni. He hasn't got too many there with him though. The All Blacks are getting numbers to the ball. And Cowan's able to drag this out. Off now to Slade. Kick and chase from Colin Slade. He's got the pace himself. He gets the bounce and he gets the try.
Thanks, Wilson.
Oh, well done, Colin Slade. I was just about to say wrong option, because out left it was all over with a couple of passes, but Slade had noted that there was no one sweeping at the bat, so he kicked for himself. Just had to wait for a kind bounce off the goalpost pad, and got try number 1 for him in Test rugby.
Well, beautifully weighted kick for himself as well, but there was 2 beautifully weighted kicks. The one from Zach Guildford was pinpoint accurate in terms of its placement on the field. That committed Keresoni, the fullback. That's why they had no cover at the back. They didn't read that at all well, Fiji. But some quite precise stuff, Grant, from the All Blacks there after a while. It was a bit hodgepodge early on with Ali Williams and co-midfield, but nicely tidied up.
Yeah, Slade knocks over the conversion. Yeah, I mean, the defence, the kick chase was good there too, and they didn't overcommit to Keresoni. but when he brought the ball back, they isolated him, and this is end on view with Slade, seeing no one was home. Just popped off the post. Good skills to pick that up as he was lunging forward and slid over the try line.
But of course, Colin Slade missed most of the first part of the season with a couple of broken jaws, and the Fijians have run at him a couple of times. They might have half busted him, but he's coming out okay on that score too.
And by again kicks off. Again, the winger is the first man up there, Nagusa, but this time the All Blacks do control it. Cowan's going to kick. Sivivatu leading the charge and grabbed it, but it coincided with him crossing the touchline as well. But he's been really busy, sort of Eni Sivivatu. He's been given a rocket, there's no question about that.
And he knows this might be his one and only opportunity to really put a good performance on the park and tell the All Black selectors, don't forget about me.
Line out throw, nicely claimed there by Kalu, and an opportunity again for the Fijian back division to have a bit of a run, taken in by Maradigo, the number 8 forward. Now Sirilevu is under some real pressure, charged by Ma'afu, and Fiji get their first penalty.
Easy leaving, just formed. It's formed over the top of this man.
It's still on their own side of halfway.
Well, Stu Dickinson was pretty quick there, and I wouldn't mind another look at that, because McCall was the tackler there. Well, where's the ruck? I don't understand where the ruck was there. McCall was the tackler, he wasn't engaged.
In fact, it was brilliant play. Brilliant number 7
It
play.
was, it was.
Koto throws, tipped to Sirilevu, Imbai across the face of several players into the arms of Maradigo. Now Sirilevu once more. The charge coming from the big lock forward Kalu. Sirilevu once more. Now it's with Narsinga, the other lock forward. Sirilevu. Here's Kalu back, second time in the movement. That's the 22-metre line, All Black territory. And the All Blacks are scrapping for this. They reckon they might have a turnover.
Let it go, 6. Let it go, Black. Let it go.
Doesn't look like it though.
Thank you.
In fact, oh yes, it has been taken away. Now Messam feeds it up for Muliaina. Runs straight into Vuli Vuli. But the All Blacks back in possession. A weighted kick by Jimmy Cowan. All Blacks coming from everywhere, but Kerry Sony did really well. Taken in a crunching tackle right on halfway. And Fiji have done well to get back behind the ball. Sirilevu takes it in. And the All Blacks working hard to try and turn this over. It's not going to happen though. And fired away by Vuli Vuli into the arms of Manu. Sirilevu once more. Imbai gets it across to Fatiaki. Now it's with Nagusa. Trying to get round the outside of Sivivatu, but he's got him well and truly. Just couldn't quite shepherd him into touch. First man there is the energetic lock forward, Sekanaya Kalu, who's been all over the show. But Fiji having a good period on attack here. There's Sirilevu again. Now Imbai is able to run a fair way. Now it's Vuli Vuli. 10-metre line in All Black territory. Sirilevu, the All Black defence, getting a bit of work out here. Manu running straight at Ali Williams. And down he goes. And no chance of that coming back. So Stu Dickinson gets on the whistle and they'll put a scrum down.
Yeah, good period of ball retention for Fiji. They weren't going forward much at all, but they run most of their forward runner plays off 10, so they're not doing it off 9 very often. They're trying to get it more to the middle of the park and then give themselves options either side. They're prepared to move it a bit wider when they think the time is right. So they do have clearly a pattern of play, and they're working hard to try and impose it.
Time out. I understand that.
We just got an injury break here. An ankle problem by the looks of things.
Yeah, it's the hooker, Nisbo. So it's Koto.
Opportunity then for both teams to just have a little bit of a break and a little bit of a think about how things are going.
Well, the All Black forwards are in a huddle. Fijian forwards are in a huddle. The All Black backs are in a huddle. So there's a fair bit of chat going on, and things certainly aren't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and you wouldn't expect them to be. First test match of the year. And sides like Fiji aren't easy to play against. They play a very physical game, and just putting the All Blacks under a little bit of pressure, testing their skills.
That was a clever kick by Colin Slade. It bounced off the pad at the bottom of the upright, and he was able to get the rebound and score the try.
So a midfield scrum for Fiji, and if they can get this set, Kirasoni is off to the right, so 8 to 9 right would be the main option.
Touch. Pause. Engage.
Number 8 immediately under pressure from Jimmy Cowan, Maradigo, but he's able to lay it back well. Seri Levu. Just on the All Black side of halfway, and Seri Levu once more. All Black defence is pretty solid. Now Mbai as they look to go wide. Here is Kirasoni, the fullback. They're able to recycle the ball pretty well. Seri Levu again. Now Manu, the captain, again nailed in a solid tackle. Thompson's been doing a lot of work. Ball is up off the ground here, and he said leave it, but it was actually up off the ground.
Yep.
There's only one way it's coming out of there, because you're on that side and slowing it up.
Well, the All Blacks have done that pretty well, actually. They've been able to turn the Fijians and get that ball up high, and won it on 2 or 3 occasions.
It was Thompson who got penalised in the end, and he was trying to roll away. Stu Dickinson suggested the only way that Andrew Hall could have got the ball is because Adam Thompson was there.
Richie.
I'm not sure how he could get out of there.
He's got his arms outstretched to say I've let him go.
And he should have penalised him the first time if he was going to. But he was trying to get out of there. But so Fiji through and by.
Guys to roll away or get their hands off. Yeah, okay. Are they doing that? Well, the fact is I'm having to ask them at every one, and I'm not going to continue to ask.
Well, Richie McCaw's been around a wee while. He's engaged in a few conversations. 58th Test match captaincy duty today for Richie McCaw. Here's the penalty attempt by Mbai, and he's pushed it away to the right. Had the distance. 18 points to 0. Half an hour gone in the game.
Mbai will be a bit disappointed with that. He's a pretty handy goal kicker. He's got 185 points in Test rugby, 4 of them tries, so he's pretty handy with the boot.
Slade from the 22. Thompson, first man there, did well. Adam Thompson got his hands on it immediately. Cowan. Well, this one's not a great kick. It's pretty much gone straight up in the air. And it's been reclaimed by Nalanga for the Fijians. So Fiji have the ball here, right on the 10-metre line in All Black territory. And that's in touch. Steve Walsh puts the flag up. Aussie Steve.
So All Blacks going short again with the line out. So 5-man this time. McCaw and Messam are out in the midfield.
Ball goes deep. Williams off the top. Now Cowan. Slade. And McCaw crunching it up to the 10-metre line. Cowan looking for quick ball. Now gets it off to Thompson. Recycling as quickly as possible. Cowan again. Messam immediately under pressure. And just going backwards to go forwards a wee bit here. As Slade works it off to Muliaina. Bit of space now for Zach Guilford with all his pace. Looks to go on the outside. Not able to do so. It's still there though. And Smith works it back inside. The All Blacks did well to keep that in. Slade off to Hoare. Now to Nonu. McCaw stepping his way through a couple of tackles, the skipper. And it's there again for Smith. Now Nonu. Ball lost behind. And Conrad Smith has stayed amongst the forwards and makes some good ground forward. And now it goes to Williams. Oh, that's forward. That's an awful pass. It's been knocked on anyway, but it was a forward pass.
He obviously got a quick call and tried to pass it quickly, but didn't execute properly. Is that pointing towards his head, was he? Get thinking, Ali.
Yeah, it's not the first time he's done that tonight.
No.
Yeah, he's right. There it is, come right up.
Well, he'd just be pleased to be back in there, really. First test since 2008. 2008 at Twickenham.
Grant, it's remarkable, really, because the bully is that he really shouldn't be playing rugby at all with the injury he had. So just to get back and play was an achievement. To get back to this level, incredible.
Well, on the back of an outstanding campaign for the Blues, really finished strongly. That was the key to it. And another scrum penalty. So the penalty count now 7-2.
So up the touchline, this will go. A short line out once again. Sivivatu's come all the way across too, so he's either going to be used to help clean the ruck in the middle, if that's where they hit, or there'll be a decoy of McCaw and Messam, and the ball will go wider involving Sivivatu.
So Hall gets it in or through the arms of Thompson, but they've recovered. And Cowan lobs it away to Slade. Now Nonu with Sivivatu. Bit of space for Sivivatu. Muliaina back to Guildford. Again, did well to stay in. Now Nonu. And they're very close to this near touchline as they send it wide again. The long pass to Sivivatu. Quick hands required here, and they will be in for sure. Hoiata to Hoare, and Andrew Hoare scores try number 3 for the All Blacks.
Well, how does Sivivatu get from point A to point B again? Great taste.
Well, he's been asked to work, Ian, that's why, and he's doing it. But the move set it up. The line out was a bit untidy initially, but they decoyed Messam and McCaw in the midfield behind Smith. Went all the way across the park. Good support here. The back's doing most of the work. And then it's just going wide on the stretch. Thompson obviously has got a free ranging role. And Andrew Hoare just a little bit of dummy tucked inside. Try.
Oh, that'll feel good for Andrew Hoare too. It has not been the happiest of periods of his rugby career for sure. So back in try scoring mode for the All Blacks. Another semi-difficult one for Colin Slade here, just to test the groin out. And it looks pretty good.
Yes, indeed, it is good. So he kicks another conversion, and the All Blacks take it up to 25 points to 0.
Andrew Hoare's 52nd Test match tonight, and that's try number 6. So reasonable strike rate for a hookup. Good hand, Sivivatu. Unselfishly, Hoiata to Hoare.
Really good skills though from the All Blacks. It is, the first half of the season. Been some wonderful touches, quite wide out actually. Keep the ball alive, keep the continuity going.
Yeah, well, they've got 4 minutes remaining, and once again, a mile in front was Nagusa. However, now Cowan again working towards Sivivatu, and he's up there leading the charge. And this is that's offside.
Well, he might argue that Civi did hit him slightly before he got his hands close to the ball. It wasn't so much in the air.
But that's right, Smithy. I think you're close to it there, and I thought Sivivatu just touched him early.
Oh, not out. Bad mistake. Now Fiji have got to clear it, Nagusa. And, well, he's put it into touch. Probably where Slade was. Yeah, where he was aiming for.
Notice there he also touched the corner post, which is actually not in play anymore. So that's why the flag wasn't put up.
So the All Blacks do get their line out. As Thompson again, who's been a line out option tonight. Here is Nonu right in centre field as the All Blacks look to nail another one just before the break. As Cowan sends it off for Messam. And Liam Messam right out in front of the goalpost here. Cowan again. McCaw wants it. Didn't quite get it. I think lost it forward. No. Carry on, they say. And Andrew Hoare charges up towards the line. Here's a go from Wyatt Crockett. But good Fijian defence. Now McCaw has a crack. Can't quite reach out and put it on the deck. And so they'll have to recycle once more. And it's in the arms of Thompson. He has a go, Thompson, and gets there. did it on momentum, and he got it on the line, and Adam Thompson scores the 4th try.
No, you sense that was coming. The All Blacks just getting a bit more accurate in the second half of the first half of this match. You know, the forwards were going to exhaust play to the touchline before they went back wide if they needed to. They didn't need to. Now the forwards doing all the work, and Thompson here comes up short, but he's allowed to play the ball immediately in any direction, and of course placing it forward he's allowed to do.
Good assistance from Wyatt Crockett too. Have a look at Crockett. Without Crockett, Thompson wouldn't have got there.
No, great persistence, you're right, Grant. I must admit earlier on, I thought Recall had knocked on and the ball had gone on to another All Black before it was recovered, and it may have been a bit contentious, but perhaps not. Now, first one really for Colin Slade from this side of the field, this angle.
Nicely struck. Lovely kick. So Colin Slade converts the try scored by Adam Thompson, and it's almost half time here. 32-0.
So not perfect yet by any stretch for the All Blacks, but at 32-0, if this is half time coming up for them and they don't score any more points, they'll be happy enough.
Right, going to kick to a different side this time. As they come to this near side, McCaw lines this one up. Does a good job too as we tick past the 40 minutes. So the siren will go any moment. Muliaina, his pass wasn't able to be delivered all the way to Nonu, but somehow it's got there. There does go the siren as Cowan drops the little kick in behind. Now the bounce will be interesting here, and it's okay from Fiji's point of view, and Kerasoni runs it across the touchline, and the players turn and head for the dressing room. It's half time here at Carisbrook. 32-0.
Well, it's a scratchy start initially by the All Blacks, but quietly as this half's gone on, they've got better. Fiji have been a little bit ill-disciplined. They are struggling at scrum time. The All Blacks are just starting to get their patterns imposed on Fiji. And the 32-0 scoreline is really quite a good reflection of how the match has gone.
4 tries, Sivivatu, Slade, Hoare and Thompson. The rest of the points from the boot of Colin Slade. Half-time at Carisbrook sees the All Blacks leading 32 points to 0. Fiji inside back on the park here. The All Blacks not short, and McCaw goes straight up after it, but it's been nicely taken down by Nasinga for the Fijians, so they have early possession as Seri Levu gets it back, and Bai forced onto his left boot, and who's calling for this? And in the end it's been well taken by Zach Guilford. Looked as though one or two were standing around wondering who was going to take it. Now turned over very quickly, and off goes Seri Levu once more. Chased by Howiata. Seri Levu's got good pace, but he's going to be run down by Muliaina. And in fact, Mills Muliaina has got the ball back, and it's been well lost forward by the All Blacks. firstly, so a double knock on, but suddenly it opened up there, and the Siri Levu just took off.
I was trying to work out who stripped the ball from Guildford, because that's where it was. Nalanga, was it? So that's where it started. Siri Levu, good pace. Muluina had him covered. Where's the knock on here? Oh, I see that. So they did quite well to scramble in the end, but promising for Fiji. That's a good sign for them. They'd want a good scrum here, because if they can get a good scrum, you can bet that they'll let the ball go with a bit of air wide out to the right here to Nagusa.
Touch.
So Siri Levu, the man who made the break, will feed the scrum.
You're going straight onto him again, head to head. No.
Now he's a bit worried about Andrew Hall going head to head with the opposition Koto. You might remember back in Super 15 there was a call of dangerous play, and apparently that was exactly the problem on that particular occasion. They didn't actually engage the match in Nelson.
Touch. Pause. Engage.
Fiji got a good early push there before the ball had even gone in.
He's coming straight around, whipping it around.
And he's got the All Blacks for wheeling the scrum, and it's been taken quickly by Fiji, not really interested in kicking for goal. And Adam Thompson.
Assist tackler, you never released. You assisted him down, you never released.
So the penalty count is evening up a little.
Yeah, 2 quickly conceded by the All Blacks, so line out. Yeah, I didn't think they want to engage in the scrum. So I wonder what the All Blacks will do here. Will they compete, or will they stay on the ground while Fiji put it in quickly anyway?
Well, they competed. The line-out taker ended up facing the All Blacks, which is unusual, but he's managed to spin round. Now Siri Levu, untidy, and gets it wide for Ngira. And Fiji are right out in front of the goalpost. They showed in the first half their ball retention can be good. Now Deacon Manu, as Wyatt Crockett leans over the top and tries to grab it, can't do so. Mbai hands it up for Kalu. And it's back for Siri Levu once more. Mbai once again for Koto. Not really making a lot of progress here, just probing away at this defence. Now it's with Fatiaki, and the ball's been lost, and I suspect a double knock on there.
Yeah, it's come off White first, then off Black.
And yes, it was. So Fiji knocked it on first, so it'll be an All Black scrum.
Well, there's been a slight lift in intensity from the All Blacks on defence. They are pressing forward a bit more quickly, and that was what was asked for at half-time by the coaching staff. So far delivered. I think this is the first time the All Blacks have had a defensive scrum as such, so I wonder what their strategy will be here. Will they kick quickly from Colin Slade, or will they go wide and look for a kicking option out wide?
Touch. Pause. Engage.
A little bit of pressure on the All Black scrum. It's messy ball, and Sivivatu has to tidy up. Well, there's not much wrong with the Fijian scrum. Here's a charge down, and it's fallen for Slade. He was the last line of defence, and the All Blacks might just scramble out of this. Cowan is looking for someone to do the kicking. Nonu's poised him behind. It looks like he's going to do it. Don't see it very often, but he's got a pretty handy boot on him. And in fact, that's a very good kick. Nagusa's going to go quickly, and he does so. Gets it off to Kirasoni, and now Fiji start through their left wing at Nalanga. 10 out from the 22, and Siri Levu gets there quickly. Away for Mbai. Now Manu. Nice little pass, a little bit of space here. Charging run for Matadeko. And Andrew Hoare tries to grab it and did so. What outstanding work at the breakdown by Andrew Hoare. And the Fijians have piled in. I think they've got it back. Well, Hoare did all the hard work. He didn't have a lot of support from his point of view. Be disappointed. And Fiji through Carlo. Now it goes to Bai. Drops it onto the boot. And Guildford. Now, did he carry that back?
Yeah, I think he did.
So, yes.
Pretty clever kick by Mbai. So they got no choice here for a scrum, Fiji.
Well, they got a prone on right on their 22-metre mark, so we'll have a bit of a hold-up one, I would imagine. But nifty little kick this, actually. and strategically placed. The All Blacks probably had them covered man on man. Guildford, I think, got the ball down in the end. In the end, the Fijians get a really handy scrum. So a really concerted period of pressure here from Fiji.
Yeah, they're having a good patch. And they've looked likely a couple of times. Charge down from Jimmy Cowan.
Yeah, Grant, I want to ask you about that. It looked like Slade was back for the kick. What's the best option in that situation?
Well, I would have gone back to the 5'8", personally. I mean, round the fringes, Smithy, how many times do we see charge downs? Often enough. And Jimmy Cowan, while he's kicked well off his right foot, when he kicked off his left foot then, see, he didn't. It took a bit of time for a start, and he didn't go back to kick. You've got to give yourself time at halfback. You've got to go back to kick. Don't go sideways, because that just brings those fringe defenders into play.
Well, the injured player was Rapini Narsinga. He's okay, back into position. Another little incident there was Andrew Hoare grabbing the ball and then losing it again. He'll be a bit annoyed he didn't have more support.
You could have actually argued there was a ruck form bow too, couldn't you? Anyway, the All Blacks would look to try and go up Wyatt Crockett's side to try to make it a little bit harder for Fiji to attack an inside channel.
I think the All Black captain's getting a little frustrated with all this. He wants some action.
Well, the time wastage at scrum time tonight has been horrendous.
Crouch, touch, pause, engage.
Well, that's the only way, really, I suppose, to stop endless scrums, is to penalise somebody, anybody.
Right, the Fijians are arguing, and I think they've got a point there, because it was the All Black, Sohoa and Franks, who went down.
Slade kicks it, and he's put it out. And it's way down at halfway. It ends up being a good kick after looking initially as though it wouldn't go out at all.
So, persisting with short line-out options, McCaw and Messam in the midfield.
Williams stretches up, not straight.
Yeah, and Andrew Hoare knew it. He didn't even bother to chase after the ensuing phase of play. Very frustrating.
Just the little things, aren't they, that the coaching staff are asking for at half-time, just to get those little core jobs done properly. And one of those core jobs is to get the throw accurately delivered to the line-out. You can see you. Yeah, no good that one. He knew straight away.
Stay there, Black. Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage.
This time the All Black loose head side goes down, but he lets it go this time. As the big number 8, Martadigo, brings it away now in by. Crawling an extra metre or two, Kalu. And Ma'afu takes it on. Thompson, good spot tackle by Adam Thompson. He's been right in there tonight. They might have turned this over. Hoare's in there, but he can't grab it. The good strength shown by the Fijians. And Siri Levu gets it once more. Getting plenty of possession here in the second half. In fact, if we could bring the stats up right now, it would show that the Fijians are ahead in both territory and possession in the game, but the All Blacks have now turned it over. And here's an opportunity down the left wing side. Messam feeds it up to Jimmy Cowan, and Cowan with a kick and chase, and probably not the right option. If one thing the Fijians have, it's pace, and they easily covered that.
Yeah, not the right option at all. He had support players both sides. Maybe better if the waiting had been good. It wasn't.
So nearly 9 minutes gone, second half, and no scoring in the second spell.
And just again inside here, Sivivatu, Nonu, better to keep the ball in hand there.
Yeah, I think there was a chance for Sivivatu.
Now the kick out, and the All Blacks looking to grab it. McCaw fires it back in the general direction of Cowan. He scrambles it up to Guildford, and Zach Guildford got the pass off to Williams. Good attacking position here. Good strength. Ali Williams busting into the clear, and then he went to make the pass to his captain, and it was knocked away from him. But he made a good run of about 20 metres.
Yeah, the eyes were lighting up. The try line was beckoning. And he was trying to offload with support. So he did well here. Pushing away. Bit of help from Crockett through Manu's tackle. Yeah, and just as he was trying to unload the ball, he got hit, and that led the pass to go forward.
62nd test match tonight for Ali Williams. It's taken a long time to get that 62nd, but well, he looks the part out there.
Well, there'll be someone, Nisbo, who will be able to tell you at some stage how long between 61 and 62, and that'll be a world record, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I can roughly tell you, Smithy, it was 2008 Twickenham.
Right. Pause, engage.
I assume that'll be November, late November, might even be in early December. Anyway, Matadego taken down in the tackle, back to Mbai, and it's been touched, and I suspect Fiji might get the throw in here. Yes, they will.
Speaking of touches, that'll be the last one for Siraveni Sivivatu, because our first change for the night will be Ben Smith in 22.
Well, that'll be a popular change here at Carisbrook. Local boy, of course.
Time out. Where's he going? 11.
Stu Dickens has got the wrong team.
Black, sorry,
So Sivivatu might be a little surprised at that, but he'll be happy. He's had a good night. He's worked hard. But Ben Smith now gets his opportunity. Didn't he have a good Super Rugby season?
Yes, he most certainly did. And he's going to station out on your near wing there, Smith.
Yeah,
he's on the right.
He's going right. Guildford's going to effectively go over to the left, where he's played, well, 99% of his rugby up until tonight, really. So he'll be happy too if the play continues to go that way.
Time back on.
So Fiji have the throw-in, and it's successfully taken down for them. 11 minutes gone now, second half. As Sevilevu kicks, and Guildford does well under the high ball. So the All Blacks still in Fijian territory. And Cowan waits patiently. Off it goes to Muliaina at first receiver. Now Slade keeps it low, hoping the ball will bounce over the head of fullback Kirasoni, but it won't do that. And he makes a little kick, nicely anticipated by Mills Muliaina, looking to line up someone with a pass. In the end, takes the tackle. There's the 10-metre line. There's Jimmy Cowan. Off it goes now to Slade. Now it's with Crockett. Cowan. Off now to Williams. Smith. Good tackle again, this time by Kalu, the lock forward. The ball's been lost. Now the Fijians on the counter. These guys can run, and now the All Blacks are really going to have to chase back, and fires it back in field, and little halfback Siri Levu will score the try. What a run from Matadego. And you've got to remember with the Fijians that the forwards are often as quick as the backs, and that was the case.
Well, they've deserved that, Fiji. They've had much the better of the play in the second half, really. And it came from a turnover at the breakdown. So there's the turnover. And the big forwards, well, off they go. He thought he was going to get there. Look at the smile on his face. Then it was into Siri Levu. Had a good match. Talented player, this young man. That's well-deserved, Fiji.
Well, it was taken in by Conrad Smith and ripped clear by the Fijians, who have been pretty good, actually, in that situation. The breakdowns, they haven't been cleaned out too badly. Great pace, and Guildford coming across. Probably had him covered, but there was enough men in support, and they deserved that for their effort in the first 15 minutes of the second half. They've been good for that.
It was Wangani Barutu, who
You'd
was
have
the
to
man
say,
who sped down the touchline.
Yeah, you'd have to say they've dominated the second half.
Yeah, they've had the better of it, no doubt about that. They had 1 minute of pressure in the All Blacks 22 in the first half. They've probably got about 3 minutes now, at least, I would think.
Conversion attempt, and it is over. So 32 points to 7, and we're now 13 into the second half.
And Grant Nisbet, make a note of this in your book, because 2 changes from the All Black camp. Sam Whitelock for Jared Hoata, his debut is over, and a chance for Piri Wepu here in jersey 20 for Jimmy Cowan.
Well, they get plenty of game time, these guys. So Jared Hoata is off. Sam Whitelock, who had a long period through the Super Rugby campaign when he was injured, he's back into it. Ball's been knocked forward by the All Blacks, and it was Richie McCaw who was first man up there.
Well, they were happy enough at half-time, I think, Grant, but I'm not sure they'll be happy now, the boys in the fish tank.
They won't be in at all, no. So they were hoping they were getting things right and they were going to kick on, but it's Fiji who are the ones who've improved from their first half performance.
Just stay where you are. That's it, stay there.
So they've just gone for a split here. If the scrum's stable, they've got options either side, 3 backs left and 3 backs right.
Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage.
Seri Levu gets it in, and the All Blacks putting big pressure on, but here is Wangana Barotu again. Now the charge from Matadigo. Bai makes the kick. He's found open spaces here. Smith getting back. Muliaina tracking back as well. But Ben Smith, who's played a fair bit at fullback, so he possesses a useful kick. And he makes the clearance.
So change for Fiji, 22 for 14, so that's Veroniki Geneva, and he's going to take the place of Nakusa.
It's Fiji who's gone for a short line out this time. A couple of forwards in the midfield.
Williams got through. The All Blacks managed to turn it over. No. So Seri Levu again. By good spot defence on Ngiro that time by the All Blacks. We put a bit of pressure on, and they might have turned it over here. And Fiji, now they've got it. Thompson gets rid of it quickly. Lovely in pass, and off goes Muliaina. Hasn't got too many with him though. Has to hold it up for the moment. Now Hoare arrives, and Crockett sends it on. It's been left behind. Oh, he's got the All Blacks. He's got the hand out the All Blacks way, suggesting a Fiji knock on.
Yeah, maybe that's why Nonu was struggling to gather it.
And there's an injured player down on the Fijian side.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, when you look back at this game, and a lot of people will to analyse it, have a look at the work rate of Gera, the number 7 in the headgear for Fiji. He's a really big man, and he has been so impressive.
He plays in Europe, doesn't he, Ian, I think?
We've got him listed at Gloucester,
Yeah. So I heard Tan Randall talking about him before the match.
Well, this is Vuli Vuli, who's gone down. Went to Hamilton Boys High School. Still struggling to work out how there was a Fijian knock on in that, but anyway, yeah. It's going to be an All Black scrum.
I'm with you on that. I couldn't see it.
Well, 57 minutes, so 17 gone in the second half, and the All Blacks haven't added to their halftime score as Piri Wepu gets to feed his first scrum of the match.
And I think this is really suiting Fiji, though. They're slowing things down. These messy scrums, they're not too worried. You see them clapping in the background. They know the clock's ticking away. The All Blacks are getting a bit of scoreboard pressure. They've talked about the fact it's how, not how many tonight, but just the same. They haven't scored for a long time.
Guildford has just gone and parked to the outside of Colin Slade. Nonu's pretty flat and Smith's a lot deeper, so that's the formation.
Oh, it's been knocked down offside.
7 offside.
Offside against Akapusi Gira, the man we were just talking about, who plays his rugby at Gloucester.
7.
All Blacks then will look for Slade to get this somewhere near the goal line, and they can attack from a line out.
And he's done it. It's a very good kick. That's 7 metres out. So I'm thinking here the All Blacks will drive this, try and secure it, take their time setting it. And Fijians, they're not going to compete. So I don't think the backs will see the ball here.
So Hoare throws, Williams stretches up, and the All Blacks look to drive off Ali Williams. It's with McCaw. 5 metres out, and they're in pretty good formation here. There's some strong work going on. Now they go to ground, so Wepu is directing the troops. Thompson has one go. Now they go again. Wepu gets it wide for Williams. Gira got there well though. Now they serve it up for the back. Slade, off it goes to Nonu, looking to get it wide at Muliaina. Nonu doubles round. Nonu still going. Off it goes to Smith. Just running out of room across on the far side. They're still 5 metres away. Wepu, untidy pass. It goes back though, and Hoare recovers. And Fiji, and yep, fair enough. There was a man who had rights to the ball, and the All Blacks, they didn't release.
Yeah, that's symptomatic of the All Blacks tonight, really. Just the little things not working, and just watch the back line. And this is where no wingers stand wide on the touchline now, but this is where I'm a bit critical of this. If Smith had read it and gone in much tighter to Muliaina, he would have been in a position to catch and pass quickly, and Smith would have scored. But because he was so wide, there's no way Muliaina can catch and pass a wider pass quickly. Short pass, yes. Wider pass, no.
Goes back a bit earlier than that. We're going to see a change here. 19 for 7 for Fiji. So Gera, who has a strong game. Ravulo in jersey 19. Who plays a bit of rugby in North Harbour. But it goes back really to the way they were able to, in the end, dismantle the All Black drive from the line out, and they hit them around the fringes pretty hard.
Well, Manu had worked himself into an offside position, and he was trying to splinter it and get it to ground, and he successfully did that. In my view, he should have been penalised, but he got away with it.
So 20 minutes gone in the second half, 20 to go. An untidy ball slapped towards Sirilevu. Manu, though, tidies up nicely. And Sirilevu, who's been all over the shop tonight, is quickly back into position. Driving forward was Ma'afu. Now Sirilevu. Mbai makes the kick. Muliaina's called for it. He wants it. And he gets it. And he gets 2 or 3 Fijian players at the same time. And the All Blacks have to get back and help. They need to get this to ground, otherwise it'll be a maul and it'll be a Fijian scrum. But they do now free it up as Hoare feeds it off to Nonu. Unusual to see him dropping it onto the boot. Kerry Sony in good position. Lined up here by Wepu. No, in fact, he gets the call from Slade. And Colin Slade in Fijian territory. And they do attack the ball nicely, the Fijians, but they didn't allow Slade to place it. You must allow the ball carrier to place it.
Well, that was against Nicinga, not out of the 10-metre circle. So I think once again, so McCaw will go back for a scrum here, I think. So he had the option, penalty where the offence was, or back where the kick was taken for a scrum. So that's the option.
There it is.
Well, there's no sign of the Fijians running out of puff here.
No, they're not. In fact, the All Blacks are going to go to the bench again, and it's going to be Jerome Kano very shortly, and the rest are up and running about too. The All Black coaches would like to see a little bit more precision before they pull up stumps tonight.
Touch. Pause. Engage.
Off the back. And away it goes to Wepu. Puts a little kick in. Now the chasers are coming. And they go to score here. One of the two. And it's Conrad Smith. Clever kick. Very clever kick. And Conrad Smith got there first.
A clever kick indeed. So the All Blacks, part of their attack structure off scrums on the open side is to go 8 to 9 with 9 carrying and options off him. And one of those options is to grub her in behind. So You just see it here. More of a chip kick. Because a race for the two Hurricanes boys that have pitched. Got the little off break to Conrad Smith. He claims it.
Well, the Wellington boys on song here, aren't they? Three of them involved here, and in the end, two of them fighting it out. Wepu with one of his first touches is a very influential one. So Conrad Smith wins the race. Enjoys every single moment of it. Fiji left exposed, and for the first time in the second half, the All Blacks do have occasion to smile.
Yeah, it's a set-piece try too. Even though it was from a kick, it was planned. Coaching staff and teams always like it when moves you practice during the week come off and you score points from them.
It was the 5th try tonight. Score goes up by 2 more to 39 points to 7. So 5 tries, 5 different individuals: Sivivatu, Slade, Hoare, Thompson and Smith.
For the All Blacks, a big change here. Colin Slade's night at the office is done and dusted. Dan Carter in 21, a very popular change. Grant Fox, you'll have a longer period of time to analyse. Thumbs up?
Yeah, I think he's done a good job, Colin Slade. He hadn't had a lot of rugby this year, and he got a good 60 minutes and performed pretty efficiently.
Buatava in 20 for Fiji. For Saliu Levu, who's had a very busy and industrious game at halfback.
Kickoff is made, doesn't go the 10 metres, but the All Blacks have claimed it, so he'll play advantage here. Will Dickinson. Williams serves it off to Carter. Not a great pass first up, but it's worked out all right. Wyatt Crockett pops a nice pass, but now it's loose, and the All Blacks in on the ball carrier. 15 out from the 22. Good numbers there from the All Blacks. Back now for Bai to make the kick. Muliaina scrambling across. Off it goes to Smith. Opportunity to come to this near side. Here's Wepu looking to shrug off the defence of Vuli Williams. Wepu. Off it goes to Carter. Carter with a no-look pass on the inside for Guildford. Hoare drags it out. Carter once more. Smith well defended this time. Carter gets it again. Now McCaw, and Richie McCaw heads off. Goes into Fijian territory, busting a couple of tackles on the way. Now Wepu. Now Thompson. A good acceleration, Adam Thompson. Wepu goes to pick it up. And there's a knock on by Mills Muliaina, so it continues to be a bit untidy.
Now, around the breakdown in particular, the Fijians are putting pressure on round there. They're getting round the fringes quickly. An interesting stat on Dan Carter. He was the leading point scorer in World Rugby on the tour last year, but Johnny Wilkinson played a bit of Test rugby in the Six Nations, so he's now back in front on 1,195 Test points. Daniel Carter's 1,188, so he's just behind, averaging a shade over 15 points a Test, Daniel Carter. But one of the important stats for him is he scored 29 tries. That's a lot of tries, and of the guys who are in the top 10 point scorers in World Rugby history, there's only one other guy who scored as many tries, and that's Matt Burke from Australia.
Well, the All Blacks, I think, are going to take this stoppage time to make their last 2 changes off the bench. Looks Corey Flynn for Andrew Hoare, and John Afoa for Wyatt Crockett. Numbers are up.
Iconic New Zealand song ringing round Carisbrook. Poirier, 39 points to 7. And that cleans out the bench, Smithy, does it?
That's the All Black side of things, done and dusted, yeah. So game time for every one of the 22 tonight. And food for thought, I'm sure.
Yes, of course, all proceeds from this game here tonight, and this really is what this game was all about, to the Canterbury Earthquake appeal. So 15 minutes remaining here at Carisbrook. Untidy second half from the All Blacks. It's effectively 7-all in the second half.
Touch. Pause. Engage.
Fijian scrum under a lot of pressure. Snapped up by Thompson, and off goes Adam Thompson. Got the pass away to Smith. Breaking into the clear. Conrad Smith almost as far as the 22. All Blacks in possession. Oh, it's untidy though. There was no protection at all for Piri Wepu, and Fiji come away through Goniva. And now a charging run by lock forward Nasinga. Halfback Buatava. Now Ma'afu for the Fijians, right in centre field, but they're just out from their own 22. Play with a lot of spirit in the second half as it goes to Fariaki, the second 5/8. Loose ball, and it's Nonu who comes away with it, but Stu Dickinson gets a late call. I don't think it was he who made that decision. I think he must have got the call.
Steve Walsh, I think, had
Steve
some input
Walsh.
there. Yeah,
Yep.
Conrad Smith having a joke with him, but it was almost a turnover affected by Corey Flynn hitting it late, and Manonu was just in an offside position as it came clear.
Well, Fiji will be pretty happy with their performance in the second half. As you said, Grant, it's 7-all in the second half, and for them that's an achievement.
So Buatava, who's the new man at halfback. Good run right up the middle of the park there by Nalanga, the left winger. Just under 13 minutes left in the game, and Wangana Burutu takes it forward. All Blacks struggling to get their hands on the ball. Ben Franks has to make a tackle on his opposite there, Deacon Manu. Buatava now to Bai. Haven't brought the ball very wide so far tonight to Goniva. All Blacks looking to get players to the ball. It's a real scramble going on here. It should come on the All Black side. Finally does. As now the little kick and chase by Wepu leading the charge. Mulioina Wepu. Now away it goes to Ben Smith. Smith going hard. Smith going hard. Gives it away, and Wepu in good support. And the little halfback scores.
He's got good vision, Perry Wepu. And from 2 kicks he's executed tonight, the All Blacks have scored. That time it was his chip kick that Mulioina ran onto. And Ben Smith in the end unselfishly offloaded to Wepu in support when I think he had breached them. It came from the turnover here where the All Blacks just drove through. It was a bit messy, but it ultimately gone back the All Blacks' way when McCaw secured it. Wepu sees a space in behind. Mulioina from the inside in support. Wepu, it's 3 sort of touches in that movement, 1 off the foot, 2 off the hand. Smith actually wouldn't have scored.
That actually, really, when you think about it, Grant, quite a clever kick when you see it from that angle, because had he kicked it to try to kick it over the top of the advancing player, he never would have got it through there. So he actually hooked it late inside the body of that player, and it was beautifully done.
Yeah, I mean, I like Perry Wepu as a rugby player, and I just think he's clever. He's got a good feel for the game. He sees things really well. His option taking is almost invariably good, and he's had a real impact on the match since he's come on.
Nice touch there by Ben Smith. He sucked in a couple of defenders, which was able to free Wepu up to score the try, which was number 6 tonight for the All Blacks, converted by Dan Carter, so he adds another 2 to his test tally, and Fiji make some more changes.
Yes, Samoka in 17 for Ma'afu, and Domalailai, Josefa Domalailai in jersey 18 for Nasinga.
So very close to 10 minutes remaining in the test as Mbai kicks out again. Doesn't make it the 10 metres, but it was touched by an All Black. In fact, they knocked it forward, the All Blacks, so advantage applies here. Buatava away for Mbai. Taken in by Matadigo. In the 18 jersey there is Domalai, so he's just on the field. Buatava again. Thompson's worked hard tonight. He's up very quickly to make the tackle on Manu. Mbai goes again, looking to outflank the All Blacks. Oh, a missed tackle and a kick and chase, and they've got some pace. Wepu having to fly back, and oh, this is going to be a try, and brilliantly taken by Goniva. Verniki Goniva has scored their second try, the Fijians, and it was clever.
That was a brilliant bit of skill. This is Wepu was going to pick the ball up. It got fly kicked out of his hand. Well, that came from pretty patient build-up from Fiji, but ultimately a missed tackle by Conrad Smith, and he'll be disappointed in that. Just bounced off, and it was Wepu in cover defence. Just watch that. He thought he would have had it. Boom. Out of his hands. Very clever from Geneva.
Oh, brilliant skills. Gee, they're good to watch, Fiji, and they have been good tonight, particularly in the second half. This kick goes over. They're back to 14 all in this section of 40 minutes. But that's a brilliant skill there. He's got some pretty quick players after him. He dodged the advances of Muliaina and was patient enough to save the situation up with Guildford threatening.
Smith will be disappointed.
Yeah, he will.
He didn't get a shoulder in the tackle. It was only an arm, and so your arm, no strength in your arm. You got to hit with your shoulder, and so tackle technique not quite right by Conrad Smith, and he got busted.
Well, he won't miss many tackles this season. It's a rarity. It really is. So here's the conversion attempt, and it goes through. So Fiji get to 14, 46 to 14, 8 minutes left.
What's the most they've scored against the All Blacks? 18, I think.
And you were telling me, I think before the game, Grant, 68 is the least they've conceded. So,
well, yes, correct, in the official Test matches. So I don't think the All Blacks are going to get to 68 tonight, but Fiji might get past 18 the way they're going.
Yeah, 68-18 at Wellington back in 2002. The most points they got, the Fijians. So Wepu goes wide for Carter. Nice pass and draw. Nonu. Now Muliaina. Ball pops back for Wepu. Jerome Kano in the 19 jersey. McCaw has to go and act at halfback. So he makes way for Muliaina. The All Blacks are going to form a little pod out wide, and it's led by Thompson. Nanu has a hack at the ball, and he's got them for offside. Well, there's two of them offside now, so the first player was offside, followed by another one. So here's a penalty.
And this will be a scrum, I think.
Yes, every time the All Blacks have played the Fijians, they've racked up 50 or more. They may well do that again.
Yeah, I think 50's likely, but 68's not.
No, 68 is the lowest up till now, followed by 71, followed by 74, followed by 91.
So Richie McCaw off the back here has options both sides.
Well, Muliaina hasn't gone to the classical position to the right-hand side of the scrum. He's directly behind it. The rest of the backs are in the left-hand side formation. Ben Smith is way across on the right-hand side.
So Wepu away for Carter. Now Nonu. Carter doubling round. Gets the call from Guildford, who comes back on the inside. Wepu wide it goes for John Afoa, and he ploughs away towards the goalpost. Afoa as Wepu. Nonu again. He's been well looked after tonight, Nonu, but he's got it back well. Wepu manages to flick it up off the ground. Here's Carter. Tries to get between the two defenders, Dan Carter, but he's held up nicely. But they're only 10 metres away here. In fact, even closer than that. Now Williams. And another penalty. As the Fijians slow it down. They've conceded 13 penalties tonight.
And this will be another scrum, I'm sure. Right in the midfield. Fiji will find this very hard to defend, providing the All Black scrum is stable or just up on their tight head side a little bit.
Mike Cron there, the scrum coach for the All Blacks. Andrew Hoare not far off. And we've got a bit of a break here. There's an injury to one of the Fijian players. It'll be just over 5 minutes remaining. Yeah, well, there's been a lot of rust in this performance, hasn't there? And normally
All Blacks in the past sort of few years have been a slower starting side, not only in the first match of the year, but in the first half of games, and they often get better as the match goes on, but you can't say that tonight. Their best period was sort of 10 or 15 minutes before half time.
Well, in the best traditions of rugby speak, Foxy, there's plenty to work on.
Well, this is the 38th All Black Test at Carisbrook. Got a good record here, the All Blacks. They've won 31 times. Lost, I think, 6, lost 5 and drawn 1. So,
well, they lost to Australia, South Africa, France, the British Isles twice, and
here,
the New Zealand Juniors.
Crouch.
That wouldn't have been a test match, though.
I think it was.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I think
okay.
so.
Pause. Engage.
Okay, here we go. 5 minutes left in the test, and held in the back by McCaw. And they're going to try an old-fashioned push over here. And they've got a penalty.
Can't keep going, can't play advantage of it. Just come up.
Well, it's been a long time since anybody's achieved a pushover try.
You don't see them very often nowadays, do you?
You do not.
No.
Well, maybe Richie McCaw's had enough of these scrum disruptions tonight, and he said, well, remember this one, folks.
There you go.
All that disruption in the front row, take a bit of this.
Let's get it.
Again, the same backline formation. So do they have a move that goes to the right-hand side here? They don't have enough numbers, the All Blacks, realistically.
Pause. Engage.
We'll try again. It's a pretty good scrum. It stayed in formation. But it's going to be a penalty try. Well, a penalty try.
Sort of sensed that was coming, but I'm actually trying to work out what it was for. I'm not sure what Fiji, they were going backwards, but what was the offence?
All I can think of is there was a collapse on the far side on your side, fellas, but it seemed pretty clear and clean on this side.
Well, let's just have a look here. What's going on here? Well, I still can't work it out.
No, I can't either. Certainly it didn't appear as if there was too much apart from backpedaling going on.
Anyway, the 50 is up.
So what's the...
No, you still can't see anything.
The ruling is a try probably would have been scored, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, but what was the offence?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. So 3 minutes remaining here, and the All Blacks have got the ball over for the 7th time, and the kickoff is made. And Fijians have done well, and here is Buatava in possession. So Fiji looking to score their 3rd try of the evening if they can do that. Gets it across to the impressive Wangana Barotu, who's had a really good game, the man who set up the initial try. Some hard work going on there to try and free the ball. Now gets it across to Deacon Manu, who's been industrious all night. Lost the ball forward here, Fiji.
Move wide.
All Blacks might have turned it over anyway. They have. And Carter gets it off to Smith. Smith making a good surge. And a hand gets in the road there. It was knocked on, I think, by Fiji. So he's going to play advantage here as Kano frees it up to Nonu. Nonu looking to bust his way through. Just on the Fijian side of halfway. McCaw feeds it up for Afoa. And he lays it up for McCaw once more. Carter to Kano. Just probing for gaps out wide, the All Blacks. There haven't been too many of them. Now Williams. He's running out the full 80 minutes. Ali Williams. As Wepu scoops it off the ground. Muliaina's knocked it on. Well, no back, he said. So here's Guildford. He's got all the pace in the world. Sends the pass in. And Muliaina. Try number 33 in Test rugby for the veteran fullback.
Well, Stu Dickinson called that Muliaina hadn't knocked the ball on. Well, in my view, he had. You don't pull enough of them up in rugby. But it wasn't ruled upon, and Guildford unselfishly looked for support. Pass that was flat at best too.
Try converted by Carter. So what's that for Dan Carter? 6. What was the difference? What's he
8.
looking quickly at his piece of paper?
8 to get ahead. 7 was a difference. 8 to get ahead. How many? He's had 2 conversions, has he?
3 now.
3.
I agree with you, Grant, entirely.
Well, that was probably forward, and the other one going back was a knock on.
Definitely a knock on. He lost that ball forward at that point of impact. There's no two ways about that. So Fiji might feel a little bit hard done by there.
Well, the last 2 tries really.
So siren goes as the kickoff is made, and that hasn't gone the 10 metres, and so that is full time. The game is over. The All Blacks have had the victory. Yes, in 5 test matches it was the lowest score the All Blacks have put on the Fijians. Prior to that it had been 68, but tonight 60 points to 14. They led by 32-0 at half time, and I think a lot of people felt that they would build substantially on that, but Fiji scored 2 good tries in the second half. The All Blacks were able to add 4 though, 60-14. Let's hear from Richie McCaw, the All Black skipper.
Yeah, thanks very much, Grant. Good finishes in terms of try scoring to each of the halves, but in between times some work to do, eh?
Well, there's definitely some work to do, but I guess, you know, I think it's a start, and, you know, there's some good things there. We may not have got all the detail dead right, but, you know, the guys, I think, you know, things have worked on. You can see it's going to come, and we've just got to put a lot of work in before we climb into next week, I guess.
Let's look at the set pieces. The scrums were messy. I think you made a bit of a statement towards the end with the penalty try, but very frustrating there.
Yeah, I think, you know, without making excuses, you know, we perhaps rushed things a little bit at line-outs, and, you know, we're just going to need to put some time into that, but, you know, we've got to get that right going forward. But, again, we've got something to work on now. We'll have a look at it, and, you know, we've got a few days to get it right.
Not just the hit out, they gave you some serious work to do in defence.
Yeah, I think we're a little bit slow, perhaps, coming off the line, and, you know, we perhaps gave them the advantage line a little bit easy. So, yeah, there's going to be a few things to look at on Monday, but at least we've got that under our belt. You know, some time together to get combinations, and, you know, I guess we've got you know, a big game coming up next week, but we'll look forward to that. Yeah,
it's a win. A win is a win in Test rugby, and the final one, we'll say this time here at Garrisbrook.
Yeah, it's a few times, but it was great to have a run around at the old place again, and you know, I guess yeah, farewell this time, and look forward to, I guess, the new one at some point. But it's nice to get another game here.
And just a final word too, Richie. The reason we're here, the people of Christchurch.
Yeah, well, we talked about it this week that you know, a lot of us have been through a fair bit as the people in Canterbury, and you know, we wanted to do something as a rugby community, and I guess you know, playing here tonight, you know, our thoughts are definitely with those people back in Canterbury that have you know, still suffering a bit.
Good on you. Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
Yes, they played really well, the Fijians, no doubt about that, and now they're acknowledging the crowd, and they're getting a very good reception too.
Well, they're good people, the Fijians, and whenever you go up there, they're great hosts. They love their rugby too. Everywhere you go, there's games of rugby and backyards and bits of dirt paddocks they can find. Even on the road sometimes they play sevens rugby touch and that. So they are a rugby-loving country, Fiji. So it is good to see them in New Zealand.
Yes, and they can take some real confidence into the World Cup. As has been said, they are in a very difficult group, which includes South Africa and Wales and others, but by gee, and I think Samoa as well.
Well, they nearly tipped South Africa up at the last World Cup, didn't they? So, yeah, they will find a big performance at the World Cup, and I wouldn't mind betting they're capable of causing an upset.
Don't forget they were quarter-finalists in the first World Cup back in 1987.
In fact, they nearly beat France too,
yes, they did. There's some big rugby tradition there, and they've performed really well here tonight at Carisbrook. In the end, the All Blacks were too strong, 8 tries to 2, and they won it by 60-14.